Hey all, um, I have an idea. Let's do this. Let's give a look at GPT-5. So for those of you who don't know it, I'm like obsessed with ChatGPT, and I use it pretty much for everything. Like I use it from helping with emails to helping me cook, helping me plan things, helping me um, do social media things, um, help with image creation. I kind of got obsessed with it since DALI came out, and DALI was, I want to say, maybe one of the first image generators available. Um, but yeah, a good friend of mine was telling me that they have a bunch of videos on here, and I thought it would be interesting to look at them together and see what is new in GPT-5, which is the latest release. Let's give a look what they have in here. So expert intelligence for everyone. GPT-5 is smarter across the board, providing more user responses across math, science, finance, law, and more. It's like having a team of experts on call. Yeah, because in the previous version we were very good at math, right? The best response every time. ChatGPT is now designed to think deeply when you need to. Great at coding. So far in my experiments, Claude was taking the crown in terms of coding, and I was able to code a few apps with Claude, but it says deliver more readily available, readily usable code, better design, and more effective at debugging. The debugging is like a pain in the butt because you typically just get something spit out by the system, and then you have to keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and kind of debugging for hours because it never really works. What else it says? An expressive writing part, you know. Can you make the introduction more engaging? Yes, it's amazing for writing, ChatGPT, so I'm glad it got update. More useful health answers. Our best model yet for health-related questions. Yes, I honestly think that doctors are going to be, most doctors, I'm going to soon be out of a job because you can literally upload a photo, whatever you have, and it gives you basically a diagnosis. And and also really good at giving you tips and if you have questions. Safer and more accurate, less prone to hallucination and pretending to know things. That's good. See how people are using GPT-5. Let's see coding and design, creative writing, medical research. Okay, let's give a look at this.
GPT is creating frontiers to comedy. Writer's block, if you'll let it, is gone. My name is Sarah Rose Siskin, and I am a science comedy writer, and that's a real job. GPT-5 is the ultimate research assistant. There are so many niche expertises. Now you can hire a comedy writer to understand nuclear quantum mechanics or whatever. And they can go in and truly try the beginner's mind and the comedian's mindset to understand the details of what you do and make it relatable. I wrote this show that I never thought could see the light of day until GPT-5 came out. It's called the Primordial Soap Opera. No hour is too late, no question is too weird or too hard. And it's able to understand the emotional complexity of the question I'm asking as well as the scientific grounding. Research, mind map. Then it's your job to find the most delightful juxtapositions and put them together. I'm going to pressure test these characters by giving a scenario. So it gave me 3 scenelets, which is great. Devin keeps trying to set up Jesse with Morgan. That's great. That's a classic. You both love sulfur. That's an interesting thing because, like, this actually makes me wonder a question I hadn't really thought of before. GPT-5 is really good at understanding the voice and perspective of characters because not only does it have a sense of what words they might choose, but also what are their motivations. This back and forth is how collaboration happens. And by using advanced voice mode and just acting stuff out, I can actually create more robust characters. When you're in a creative flow state and you don't want to toggle between different models, GPT-5, it'll toggle for you between reasoning models and towards multimodality, web search, whatever it is, it does it for you so that you can just get to the meat of the stuff. It automates a lot of stuff we don't want to do, and it augments what we're good at doing. And truly, I think of this next frontier as a much larger writer's room.
All right, this is very cool. So previously, if you didn't know, you had to switch in between different modes. And for example, let's say you wanted to point to a web link, you had to switch mode. Well, now GPT-5 automatically switches to the most appropriate model and gives you the best answer. Something also that have been introduced is agents. Agents are very useful because they can literally surf the web and complete operations on your behalf. And I use them a whole lot to, for example, price real estate. Like I manage an Airbnb, like manages Airbnb, compare pricing, and enhance the listing by analyzing the pictures and giving me captions for this picture, make a comparative analysis over properties in the same area. And yeah, it's literally like having an agent at your fingertips, and even best for free. Let's see coding and design.
This is basically the age of models. We can now interact with intelligence, and we can just ask anything we want. My name is Pietro. I'm a designer and developer, and I'm the CEO of MagicPath, and it's a design tool with AI at the center. I have this philosophy that nothing is real until it's in people's hands. What I really care about is the interaction. The special thing about GPT-5, it is the closest model that I experienced to actually get your ideas. One of the main applications that I built with GPT-5 when I was testing the model, I asked for basically a camera app where I can draw real time in the air, and he has sense of my hand movement. We have the canvas in a camera. We have our hand tracking movement, which is pretty crazy. You know, you can just like resize the size of the brush just by doing this. When I open my palm, and if I close the palm, the palette goes down. GPT-5 just like did this in one shot. And I think in particular with GPT-5, the things that really struck me the first time that I use it is that innate sense of creativity and taste. I asked GPT-5 to create a beautiful looking canvas app where I can drag and drop photos, text file, and website all in one file. It was issues of spacing, typography, rhythm, the framing. It was really like I was talking to a designer. A lot of times you can be a great engineer, but you might suck at debugging. GPT-5 excels at it. It actually returns a larger amount of code compared to other models, and it's actually creating code. And when you combine speed, intelligence, reasoning, tool calling, understanding, everybody now is going to get access to the best intelligence. It's going to be great to see like what people are going to be able to do with this.
Very nice. So, yeah, ChatGPT is really great to help you debug. And to be honest with you, like my previous process was to use Claude as a main source of coding, and then when I got stuck, run certain things through GPT-4, just because it seemed like the results that I was getting from Claude were better, but it seemed like they greatly improved it, and especially for creating apps. And so we should definitely give it a try. I'll probably try to create soon an app that allows you to basically extract from a wallet address all the NFTs that you minted and created, and also just collected, and renders that as a website. And I think it's a project that probably we should do together, and we're going to do together on stream, just to demonstrate the ease of use. Like I was very impressed with GPT when it came out, because it allowed me to create a software where I could, an app, let's call it, where I could generate with one click a weekly meal plan for my daughter, just because my wife was always like stressing about these meal plans, and he created it right away. He guided me on how to use Vercel, Amazon web services, and host my app, not just create it. And it's true, like if you get stuck, it's typically very good at debugging what the issue might be. And again, I think it's good to try different model. And there are services that allow you to try different models so that you can automatically compare answers and see whatever suits best your uses. Like for example, Perplexity is very nice. It gives you side by side all the responses that you would get from all these different models. And it's definitely something very intriguing and useful to have. Let's see for medical research. Oh, this is a very good point.
GPT-5 is able to predict the outcomes of experiments that we haven't even done. That saves us weeks, sometimes months. Fundamentally, it will change the way we do science. My name is Dr. Dario Yilmaz. I am a professor, human immunologist. I've been working in the lab for the past 35 years, trying to understand how the immune system works and how it impacts different diseases. I've been using ChatGPT models as a collaborator for more than a year, but I think GPT-5 takes that to another level. Now I'm interacting with a model that knows more than me on my own fields. It's beyond collaborator, it's almost like a mentor. Recently I made GPT-5 an experiment about some immune cells that are engineered to recognize cancer cells, and we had beautiful data, but we couldn't figure out what it meant. So I uploaded this to GPT-5, and it not only suggested things that we later on performed, but also remarkable new insights. It even suggested follow-up experiments. In science, the number of things you can try are almost unlimited. So if GPT-5 can suggest the right approach, instead of trying 1,000 things, you will try maybe 10 things, and everything will progress much faster. It's tremendous for brainstorming, it's back and forth, being able to critique my own ideas, and then come up with new ideas. That's the best I can ask for from a collaborator. So I think GPT-5 will help the patients to advocate for themselves, and I think that will empower the patients to feel more confident when they talk to their doctors. I don't think I have been this emotional using an AI model before. Now I'm 100% sure that we're going to achieve all the things that we imagined.
Very cool. So yeah, like I was saying before, the thing that a lot of people misses is that the process of studying to become, let's say, a law professor or just a lawyer or becoming a doctor, any sort of medical profession is literally training yourself like a LLM by storing into your brain all these different possible scenarios and cases and pathologies and law books, and having the possibility to do the same thing with a machine is incredibly powerful, because then it frees you from a lot of this process that is mostly mnemonic, and you're able to actually use your ability as a human being to recognize patterns, while on the other hand you have a machine that is very good at recognizing patterns in a different way. And even as a creative, I often realize that LLMs and ChatGPT were able to notice patterns and things that I wasn't able to notice. And for example, when I do social media videos and I have to cut down things from a very long form, I realized that he was noticing and organizing things in a way that a human being wouldn't necessarily notice or think of, but they are highly, highly effective. And I can also see how a lot of people who doesn't have necessarily an expertise in a field to be able to bring fresh ideas and contribution by backing them with the help of an expert, right? And the expert in this case is an expert who is free and is available at any time, all day and night. And it doesn't look down on you just because you don't know something, right? Or you're not specialized in something. So the thing that people are going to be able to unlock in terms of science because of access to something like GPT-5 is pretty remarkable. And I'm excited to see how the world is going to change. So these were the use cases. Let's see what it says here. Make it your own. Select a personality and a color for your chat. Okay, it's cute, but nothing important. Voice improvements. Understand your instructions better and allows you to tailor your speaking style. I have to say this, that I'm Italian, and for a very long time, I struggle with Siri because Siri never really understands the way that I speak English. ChatGPT, since the first iteration, was able to understand what I was saying, and it was responding perfectly. And it shocks me that still to this day Siri hasn't caught up. Like just a couple of days ago, I was in the car with my wife and she was trying to play that song Call Me Maybe, Carly Rae Jepsen for our daughter. Was asking about it, and literally as she was talking in her Toyota to her Toyota using Siri, um, it was comical. Like we were both laughing because literally it started saying, "Oh, so you wanna be called Carly Rae Jepsen from now on?" And she was like, "What? No, I just wanna listen to the song." And we couldn't get to the end of it. She literally had to go and manually select the song on Spotify and play it. This is something that I never experienced with ChatGPT, to the point that since when it came out, I had a shortcut in my phone in the homepage, and I always ask with the voice whatever question I wanted to ask. And I never really use Siri again. I don't understand how Apple hasn't caught up. Study mode, get personalized step by step to learn anything. Very cool. Like I feel like every student should have access to ChatGPT, and to think that is not something that should be used to study because it's sort of like cheating is the same as not letting students use the internet when it came out. It doesn't make any sense. There is an immense amount of importance in learning how to think and how to memorize things, but you should also have a space reserved for experimenting with these tools, because they're just going to make a difference in the thing that you're going to be able to do compared to your other peers that for any reason didn't want to access or use these tools. So every student should use it. Connect your Gmail and Google Calendar. Get personalized responses by connecting your email and calendar. So this is basically like the assistant, right? And that's incredibly helpful because it's going to learn your tone, it's going to learn your needs, it's going to learn the things that go on in your life, and it's going to be able to make suggestions that are tailored. And I know that people tend to be worried about doing these kind of things, but the advantages greatly outnumber the risk. And especially if you work as a freelance professional, you work for a corporation, and if you work for a corporation, you want to use systems that they are proprietary or they are safeguarded. But as a everyday person, the amount of time that it can save you and the improvements that you can make in how you handle your time is going to be pretty incredible. So you should give it a try. For more details, see here. Release notes. ChatGPT Go, a new low-cost subscription plan. Very cool. GPT-5, default personality warmer and more familiar. The initiative came across as reserved and professional. To be honest, with you, I realized that it really learns really well on the kind of responses you want and the tone, and you can also specify that. So I believe, again, a lot of powers goes into the prompt cleaning you make, and you should learn the prompt properly, because you should talk to it as this very descriptive and just like specifying very well, because the least specific you are, the more general answers you're going to get, right? Good question. Restart. Sycophancy. Yes, sycophancy was a. It tend to always compliment you, right? And that's kind of annoying. Remake kind of connectors in ChatGPT Plus. Well, I highly recommend you to subscribe to ChatGPT Plus, which is $20 a month, but you always get all the new tools earlier. Auto fast thinking, yes. We want auto. Yes, auto is very good. I also like thinking because, for example, the agent, when I was doing the job, I asked it to kind of tailor the Airbnb that I'm managing. It took about 20 minutes, but the responses it gave me, they were incredible. So if you're in a rush, maybe use fast, but for most situations, I think it's very useful to just let it think and take your time. Connectors are now available to search by chat, drop Box, Canva, HubSpot, Notion, Microsoft SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, and GitHub. Yeah, very cool. Image generation update for ChatGPT 3. Performance more efficient. Yeah, it tended to be a little slow, but I noticed it greatly improved in terms of speed. Personalities, very interesting. I like to just get it to tailor to my needs and my personality. Voice updates, study mode, Canva and Notion. Pro users can now connect to Canva and Notion for both chat search and deep research. Very cool. Yeah, I really like Notion. It kind of helps me to organize everything I do, and it has a calendar function that is also very helpful. And I really recommend you to try with it. ChatGPT, the path of ChatGPT 5, interesting, our most advanced model for coding and agentic tasks. High quality code generates front-end UI with minimal prompting and shows improvement personality, steerability, and execution long chain of two codes, minimal reasoning and verbosity patterns. Let's start building. Very cool. Developer platform, GPT-5. Nice. So the price of tokens also went down a little bit. Yeah, it's also really nice if you can create your own apps that source the GPT APIs. Like for example, I created a random paper generator that would use the API to create images based on certain parameters that you set on how the paper would look like. And literally, I created the whole app with ChatGPT, and we were able to select the motion, the kind, the background, all that, and then generate an image and also mint an NFT through this platform. It's on my GitHub if you want to give a look. Let's see this video.
Well, thank you so much for coming here today. We brought you all here to test GPT-5. Be one of the first people externally to see it and to get your hands on it. Your first task here on Dev Island is to open up ChatGPT with Canvas and switch to GPT-5 thinking and create a personal website.
Oh, it's dark and pink, but it is quite girly, so happy with that. Yours is cuter.
Yeah. Oh my God.
What?
Let's see what you got. I said Mac OS 9. These, yeah.
Nice
So
prompting.
it actually has some windows here. This is one shot in. That's actually pretty cool. I've got it to build me a drawing app where I can draw
You're
draw
already
the
on
mouse.
step 5.
and it gives me an SVG of the drawing as it goes.
All right, let's move on to individual testing. You're welcome to test the model, do whatever you want with it, build your own app with it, put it in your existing apps if you like, see how it works for you. Please have at it.
There's the legendary ball test. It's a fun test of physics and its knowledge of Python and like weird game mechanics. Yeah, that's one of the best ball tests I've seen to date.
So, I've got my classic Pelican SVG benchmark where I ask it to draw me a picture of Pelican riding a bicycle. What I've never done before though is had it do that in a loop, so it draws the Pelican, then looks at what it's drawn and has another go.
So I made this like little platformer. This was like probably like 3 prompts, and I haven't touched the code at all. So that's been pretty cool. You have to like kind of stomp on the enemies. I'm not very good at this game. So since I added the lava, I've not beat the game yet. Yeah, I'm gonna have to make some adjustments in order to actually beat it. Keep dying.
I'm coming to it from a practical user point of view and trying to solve an actual problem with this model. What set of problems would I solve? What's the experience?
The original ball prompt was way too easy, so I gave it a significantly harder one. It went a little crazy with it, but it doesn't have many opinions of its own. Steering it makes it do what you tell it to.
I do like how the Pelican's feet are on the pedals. That's a rare detail that most of the other models I've tried this on have missed.
I'm taking my product ChatPRD, which is an AI for product managers, and I'm updating the key parts to use the new model. And then I'm comparing inputs and outputs.
The first time, it really nailed all the mechanics, and then it kind of like visually wasn't that interesting, so I just said make it look better, and it added like mountains, it added stars, it added gradients, it added like some bloom effects.
The point is that GPT-5 is more agentic. Let's see what it does. So this is make a tic-tac-toe game, and this is O3. It does a pretty basic tic-tac-toe game. This is the same prompts with GPT-5. It's a lot more flashy. It's got sound. And an AI, which I mean, it just beat me. Yeah, I knew we were gonna draw. Oh, I lost the game.
I'd love to hear what you feel about GPT-5.
It ran so fast that I didn't think it was actually running the tests. You know, we had like 30 minutes. I made a personal website. I have like a platformer game. Like I like used it a bunch to improve like our actual app. Like it's a pretty like insane amount of stuff.
I have this Chrome extension I've been working on. I primarily focus on agentic coding, so I want to just test like the maximum capability. I think it was much better than other models in terms of adding telemetry, using those telemetry to make inferences, and then fixing those bugs. I think that was the key breakthrough.
I dumped the documentation from my own little Python library for working with LLMs into it, and then told it to build me a script based on this documentation that runs my Pelican benchmark in a loop. The bicycle was flawless. Even today, most models have trouble drawing bicycles because most humans have trouble drawing bicycles.
The thing that stood out the most to me was it kind of just did what you told it to, and it wouldn't insert its own things. The system prompt really shapes the behavior.
It is an engineer. Like, you read the outputs. It's exceptional at code generation. I also had the same experience that on the front end, none of the current models I think have good taste. They all do like AI slop aesthetic, and this one actually kind of one-shotted things that I thought looked nice from a front end perspective.
It's really good at tailwind and like good styles. I just handed it an ugly app and said, make this less ugly. The first try did that really well. So it's unopinionated except for gradients and making websites look nice. Yeah, it's very tasteful with design, I found in general.
When I had to do this little like drawing app, and it like implemented a color picker, and the color picker like worked, and then it had like a thickness slider, and it like the thickness slider like worked. Like usually I don't see that. When I was making a platformer game, at some point I said like add a jetpack. It added a jetpack, but I had to actually pick up the jetpack, and it like added like a little fuel level. That's pretty cool.
Up until very recently, I've had zero trust in these things. I know that they will hallucinate, all sorts of made up. So I love feeding in raw source code and asking for documentation without giving it any of the existing documentation. And it nailed it. It gave me the exact information I needed. It gave me a full architectural overview. It was clearly very good at consuming 250,000 tokens of Rust. Because for me, as a sort of consummate code reviewer, my trust issues are beginning to fall away. Yeah.
He's saying GPT-5 so good he's turning into a bytecoder. That's what I heard.
There we go. That's exactly it.
As a product builder, that was my exact takeaway as well. I was like, this is the first one I would trust to go wild in a pretty large code base.
As an AI collaborative coder, you can actually trust it as a coworker. Like, I think that's ultimately what all of us want.
It's definitely by engineers for engineers. Highly technical, exceptional, instructable, can execute, solves the hard problems. Everybody needs one of these on their team.
Any other party thoughts? What's next? Let's do GPT-6.
All right, very cool. So you can see how you can scratch and create things from scratch and prototype apps, and it does a really good job. Like in terms of gaming, I coded a fun little game using Pepe and a lot of memes, and I was using Claude and Godot, so I found difficulties in actually building the blockchain part of it, so putting it on chain, right? Because my idea was that you would have this sort of 8-bit look to it, which worked really well, and it runs really well the game. But when it came to actually create the structure of chain where you would have some sort of pot where the person, each person provides a very small fee using Solana because we allowed for very small and cheap fast transactions. And the person who by the end of the month had the highest score collects the pot. To see that part, I wasn't really able to complete before, either with GPT-4 or also Claude. So it's definitely worth trying this Canva. And another thing I can see, all those services like Squarespace and such that allows you to templatize your website, and a no-code solution for adding a website. They're probably gonna get in trouble because it's gonna be very easy to design your own website and make it sort of unique and tailor it to exactly your needs. So very cool stuff here. Cursor, very interesting thing. Let's give a look at Cursor. Cursor, if you don't know it, is basically a visual coder that allows you, similar to Microsoft Visual Studio, allows you to work on code not just from the terminal, but in a more structured and almost like file explorer kind of way. I haven't really used Cursor much, just as a trial, just because as I was learning coding, I thought it was sort of like cheating. Like I like the idea of understanding more how everything worked. But let's see what improvements they made.
What was the first experience you had with GPT-5?
When you use GPT-5, you feel the intelligence aspect shine through. It's fast, that it can do things like entire tasks interactively, like refactors, to a degree that feels like it hasn't been possible before. We had run into a pernicious bug in our dev build that affected performance, and used GPT-5 to scope out the initial investigation. Was shocked at the intelligence of the model. If you go back before the era of LLMs, what would have taken someone weeks of onboarding to a code base. GPT-5 did it in a couple of minutes.
That is just a wild fact.
Yes.
Just absolutely wild. Well, I feel like today we should show how far this model has come.
Yeah, we're not just going to do kind of a small sketch of a tiny game. It's going to be a real working software application. We have a very nice wireframe here of an application that we're going to try building with GPT-5 and Cursor. We're going to bring this into Cursor, and we're going to put this wireframe in, and we're going to ask GPT-5 to go and try and build an application from scratch. We have been using GPT-5 as a daily driver. When one uses it as a daily driver within Cursor, that's for things like finding bugs, that's for things like planning out a PR, that's for things like in cases where, a feature is pretty scoped, actually trying to do it end-to-end with the model over the course of a multi-turn conversation.
So maybe we should just look at what the model's been up to.
Yes, let's see. Oh my gosh. No, but I mean, that is actually pretty amazing. Fully narrative.
This has come a long way since the napkin of the little joke website.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
Fully interactive.
Oh, that delete functionality works. Could also use Windows accessible. These panes.
That's a good idea.
I see the line, and
I'm not a front-end programmer at all.
Okay.
And so the thing that I find very, very nice about these kinds of tools is that for areas where you're not a deep domain expert, you're suddenly empowered. It just removes this whole barrier to entry.
The correction ability, both from doing things like getting links to the code and running the code, but then also just from human instructions has improved a ton. Used to be they would go down a path, and then they would be stuck in that rabbit hole, and it would be hopeless.
Yes.
And GPT-5 can correct itself, even for onboarding. It's kind of amazing when you have someone new onboarding to a code base. Just the power of asking the AI, where things are, how things work, and the speed at which you can come on board.
What's been the most surprising thing to you about GPT-5 so far?
The intelligence and speed. GPT-4 comes out. GPT-4 is really exciting. It's a little bit slow. GPT-5 packs in a ton of intelligence to something that's really fast and fast enough that you can work with it interactively. GPT-5 is really good at detecting bugs, actually, and detecting thorny bugs. When you give it a lot of detail up front, it is shockingly good at actually grokking that and understanding all of that detail. It doesn't have just like some kind of like fuzzy, smooth pass over all the instructions that you're giving it. It actually understands what you're saying, which is a big step forward.
Code migrations are kind of a killer feature for the enterprise. That code migrations are one of those things that are so expensive for companies to do that there's like, if you lower the barrier to that, it will be just 10x more of them that happen. It's not just about a raw model capability, but about surfaces like Cursor that actually deliver value to the developer community.
We have been surprised at its ability on real hard refactors that require trying things, correcting oneself, we're here across many files over a long period of time. But I think that the magic really happens when you're going about your day as normal, and then you can do your work 20% faster immediately. 30% can be delegated to an AI.
I think that just shows that we're starting to be able to solve really hard problems, right? And have AIs that go off and think not just for minutes, but think for hours. And of course, where we want to go is think for days, think for months, in order to solve problems that are worthy of that level of waiting. When they're quite incapable, you really have to do a lot of work to bring the tool to the model. But if the model's able to use a browser, it's able to use a desktop, suddenly integration is just a very different kind of thing.
Yeah, it feels like the start of the whole software development lifecycle changing. To go from this world where you're working one-on-one with kind of an autocomplete system that can be really powerful for programmers, and one-on-one with a local agent, to one where you're working with multiple in parallel, and orchestrating them all and having that be a fun, productive, fast development experience. So I'm really excited for a world where there's like a heads-up display, and it's like a little bit, I mean, one way to think about it is like it's a little bit more like an RTS where, yeah, you've got all your kind of parallel agents going, working alongside each other, and like understanding what the status is of each of those, being able to jump in, gain context quickly, intervene. Programming is this human compilation step of, you know what's in your head, you know what you want to see on the screen, and then you have to go turn it into formal programming languages. And to the extent we can kind of remove the like weird jump through 10,000 cubes human compilation stuff and just have it be about the thing that you want to show up and how you want it to work.
Promise of computers is to empower humans, right? So it's like the human wants to do a thing, and now there's a helper. But the whole history of computers has been the human contorting ourselves to the machine, right? Going writing assembly code, and we've moved further up that layer of abstraction. But AI is like finally fulfilling the promise of what computers were meant to be the whole time.
It has always felt like, or it's felt like, you know, AI's done a lot on the like one person, few person building something from scratch front, but just, I feel like it's underrated by people who aren't working in professional development, just how far away we are from the ceiling of speeding up development in an environment where you have hundreds of people, millions of lines, tens of millions of lines of code.
Here we are having a nice conversation about the model, while the model's out there doing all of this labor, and that, you know, we are still involved, right? We still provide oversight. We're still trying to understand what it's doing.
Over the course of the next year, we are excited for how programming languages are going to change as this tech gets better and better. And maybe it will be possible for you to look less at, you know, things like the underlying JavaScript, and look at things that are higher level, both for code review, but also maybe also, you know, for helping you actually edit and work with the AI too.
Do you think it's becoming more or less fun to be a programmer?
I think it's definitely becoming more fun. It's a little bit less about digging into lots of various web pages for a few hours, and it's more about what do I want to show up, make it happen quickly, and keep going.
The amount of progress in this field that is still possible. We are at the 1%, the 0.1% of where we will be. It's been really great working with your team. What I think really makes models like GPT-5 shine, it's in interactive experiences like Cursor. Michael?
Thank you very much.
Very cool. So you can really see how much it came on, because in the beginning he used to basically suggest you the end of whatever function you were typing, or it was like a little bit like Microsoft Copilot, right? That is inside Visual Studio Code that would maybe flag some errors, suggest solutions, but here it really helps you improve overall all the different aspects of the coding you're doing, and especially, yes, when it comes to debugging, it can become a long way. Let's see what's this one. Okay.
Welcome, Sean.
Thanks, Olivier. It's so good to be here.
Let's start with Amgen. What is the company mission? What do you guys build?
Amgen fights some of the world's toughest diseases by bringing together the best of biology and technology. And that journey from a molecule to a medicine is exquisitely complex.
How does GPT-5 score in terms of reliability?
Scientific accuracy and decision quality have to be held at the highest standards. And we've been able to really thoughtfully embed GPT-5 in some really important workflows around the company.
Within OpenAI, we felt something different about GPT-5. What do you guys think about it? How does it feel like to use the model?
GPT-5 does a better job in situations that are ambiguous, where the context matters. GPT-5 performs better quantitatively. On objective measures of quality, we think this might be one of those big breakthrough moments.
What would an accelerating
like progressive models would mean for you all and for people?
We believe that advancements in artificial intelligence have the potential to fundamentally change the field of biotechnology. Breakthroughs like GPT-5 help us to accelerate our mission of serving patients.
Very cool. So again, we go into science and how much you can, yes, you can analyze huge set of data and iterate things and just get to not go through every possible route and just be able to, save so much time and eventually money. Smarter, more reliable build for tasks your business depend on, a trusted subject matter expert, excels of writing, research analysis, coding, and problem solving. Yes, another thing, like I often found myself in a situation where I had to sift through huge amount of data and numbers that at times I feel just like meaningless, and immediately analyzes all this and gives you his own considerations. And at times you notice things that you would miss because you don't have the same grasp of everything, right? With an LLM has. So it's definitely a powerful thing. Everything can be a power user. Getting started smarter with your company context. Very cool. All right. So we look at this. Like let's put it to the test. Let's see. Oh, here on the left, you see I have some GPTs that I created myself. This might be already something that is already old, but let's see what we have. You see, you can work with text edit, with code, with cursor, notes, script editor, and terminal. And you can auto, fast, and thinking, legacy models, GPT-O. And you can select the temporary chat. Agent. The agent is what I was recommending you guys use. Search. You can literally search the web with a detail report. So I don't see the Canva yet. Is Canva something that is not available to every user yet? Let's see. Let's ask. Is Canva from the ChatGPT 5 demos on the website still not available to all users? I am last subscriber. Few key takeaways. As of August, just user can access the kind integration, but with regional is available on the web version only, not on mobile or desktop apps. Free tier users do not have access. Regional restriction. Okay. If you go to settings, beta features, Canva connector. So I guess you have to go to the web version. You might not see yet. A VPN in the UK to use ChatGPT and Canva. So let's see. Chat, OpenAI. Agent mode we have. So with this one, settings. I believe I have the beta. connectors for schedules, data controls, security. LinkedIn. So I don't see it yet. I might not have access to it as of now. So it's looking to the camera integration. Okay, so I guess you need to so I guess it is we need to connect it what we were looking at before. Continue to camera. Yes. Allow. Very cool. So we did it. Let's connect our Gmail to. It's not approved by advanced protection. So you see, I have advanced protection on just because I don't want people to fuck with my Gmail, and it doesn't allow you to do it. This Google just fixing it because let's connect TikTok. Authorize it. Need to choose a repositories that ChatGPT can access. That's we can do it later on. Google Cal. Does it have to connect with Google Cal? Let's see. Yeah, Google Cal is connected. Very nice. Google Drive or still Motion. I can tell you that for sure we don't have issues with Microsoft just because they're basically the same company. So it might be also a little bit of that going on. GFM, Connect platform. Gmail, now in chat. Come on, let me do emails. Very cool. I mean, we don't really have access to email, right? Let's ask it for curious. Teams, I hate Teams. So good. Okay, let's see. Here it says about this error. I get this error. When I try to connect to Gmail. Is the workaround. Which is the highest level of security. One-side effectively allows a very small list of third-party apps. ChatGPT and most of external app isn't on that list, so Google block your connection. Your options workaround. Disable. There is no way to bypass field restrictions without lowering your account protection level. It's something that you guys should have. Disable advanced protection and enroll. Outside, you can reduce yeah. I mean, I like requiring security keys. Use a different Google account. That's a good idea. Forward emails. Keep the app on. You can set automatic forwarding from a secondary. Oh, that's a good idea. So, like, let's say that you can set parameters where you automatically forward certain emails that you want to use later on. The cleanest workaround option 2 or 3. Yeah, and also I gotta be honest with you, like there is also the option where you just copy and paste an email and you ask it to reply for you, which is something that I did already. So I guess that's a way to do it. What is this thing? Codex and Sora. Sora is amazing for video generation. I use it a lot. Codex. Codex onboarding. Move faster with Chloe. Cloud-based software engineer agent that answers code-based questions, executes and draft. Very cool. Your software in draft GitHub here in parallel. Very cool. Navigate your code base, unlist and test. Let's try this. Yeah, these are all my repositories. Agent internet access on. Security risks. It's okay, it's not like I'm working on. I guess you need to select a repository, right? Pick a repo to set up the basic. So let's try this one. Create environment. Explain the code based on your comment. What is the general structure? Important things to know. What are some of the pointers for things to learn next? Pick a part of the code base that seem important to fix. Get through the code base, find issues and propose a task. So this is very cool. So for example, double camp is something that environments, create environment. Let's look at my pet NFT generator. Connect interactive terminal. Starting test. Create environment. Use this. What could we do here? What more functionalities could we add to the NFT creation, like more descriptors? What's the wheel of that for? Like more descriptors. is working on a task. Oh, look, something cool, like you can literally see on my phone that is doing stuff. It's been working 146 seconds. Where is? Let's reload it. Here is reading all my repos and looking for errors, which is very cool. While it's doing this, I feel like we should try let's try this. I wanna create an app where I can input a wallet address and it will automatically create a website that showcases the NFT collections I created in a website, put in a slick website. I would like to also import the NFT that have been collected, but in a separate section. This is something people can use to showcase their collections or like their own collections, or the NFT that they collected from other collections they created, or the NFT they collected from other artists. See what it does. Thinking longer for a better answer. Look, this guy is still working and is looking for how to improve the coding repositories that we have. Found threat at LAX. Wow. Starter app, import React. So he's using React. React is a very common library. NFT portfolio, all the sites, single file React starter, what it does to the input a wallet to choose chain, Ethereum or Solana, fetch created, collected NFTs, mock by default, clean mobile friendly UI with tap record your click permalink you can share. He's using demo wallet Vitali. Production type deploy Next.js, provide app, API routes or hide keys. And you create your contract addresses, helpers, Ethereum, mock data replace with real, Winocchio, sounds funny, it remembers. I created a book like this in Winadoc Pinocchio in ChatGPT. Return items. Just creating the UI components now. Really fucking cool. There's solder. Function gallery. create a wallet so you actually something first load. Love this idea. Basically, place wallet in a portfolio site. Yeah, that's exactly it. Created versus collected. I drop a polished single file React started. You can run now and wire to a real APIs when you're ready. It's in the canvas on the right. You guys see in the canvas? How to run it locally. Create a fresh React Next.js app. Drop the code, the Canva code in the source app in Next.js. I can use API. Let's see. Run code. Block attempt to use Ether, change the web sandbox, protocols, domain, port, username, mass match. Code review. Let's learn. He's giving notes to his own work. Potential SSR bug. We are talking about stuff. Knowing anything. Alright. That's literally the error you're seeing, of course, because the browser is to replace that method is attempt to change the session if you use your the protocol about XRC doc and the domain, like sandbox don't match. So fix that. Still working. Look, our guy has been working for 10 minutes on this. But it's importing all our repos from GitHub. Yes, find and fix important bugs. So it's working. Fetching your expert from lookup files. Whenever you change a wallet, changing the mouse or reconciliation. Let's see what it says here. Ethereum, yes, Alchemy is a very helpful tool, especially if you play with Ethereum, because you don't need to download a whole node. Look, now it's literally changing the code and telling us what it's doing to it. This is wild. Like it is, it's very invisible. So So we could also just test it and run it locally and see. It's getting there really well. Alright. Let's try to run it again and see what happens. Allow selected. Okay, it's literally giving the name of the collections. Auto-generate a shareable gallery. It's running the code. Ethereum Solana created collected. Let's try to put the address of the wallet where I created the collection and see if it actually does it. Alright, let's see. So I made some on Solana, some I guess some are on days. So let's ask it. Can you also add base as a chain option and Bitcoin? Sure. We can also switch to the previous version. So it's running 7,500 million files. Stop running. I updated the app to support Base and Bitcoin. I added Base and Bitcoin option in the picker mark fetcher. You want me to adjust the UI labels so something like ordinal scribes? Yeah, let's do this. I'll show you this kind of stuff. Look, it's obtaining the code in real time. Bitcoin is supported with the ordinals language, answer scribe, and ordinals collected. Mock data and labels for BTC. You want me to adapt the carry cards for BTC item surely on them? Yes. And we have it. Solana, Base, Bitcoin ordinals. So let's try. We did the field to input the others. We lost the field where I can input a wallet address to visualize. We want that. All set, and the way bar back in right now the chain picker, you can paste an address for Ethereum, baseline, Bitcoin, and guys will refresh. Copy share name button 2, yes. You see on the left, you can see a bunch of times where I use it to reply to guests and draft emails. So I'm taking the import statement. Oh, it's so late already, guys. To be opening the store at 7. I mean, I'm not actually opening the store, I'm showing up right after you. No, Marianne, the copy link later. Blocking copy link power only enables a real HTTPS page is disabled. Yeah, I need to also sync the URL with the input change, but only when it's saved. Yes. How is he doing here? Look, this guy has been now working for 20 minutes on my videos. Where is it? Yeah, look. 20 minutes on my videos. Pretty wild. Let's see how it looks like. Let's run this code. Syntax error. Wallet bar has already been declared. Fix bug. Like it makes these errors and also fixes them. Like the main thing about vibe coding is that I guess you're always debugging shit that you don't fully understand. But it's very helpful because it helps you to debug the thing that you made. I'm sweating like a motherfucker because I didn't basic either. Okay, let's run the code. Let's see. It's fixing it now. Duplicate component declaration remove. Wallet bar define exactly once. Yeah, this works so much better than before. And also you can see the whole process, which is very interesting because you get to understand better how code works. And I feel like a lot of people misses the point that by vibe coding you can learn how to code. And of course it's helpful to have a more structured way of learning it. So it's good that you do your courses, and if you go on Alchemy, there is a lot of courses that is good to take because you understand better the meaning of the libraries, functions. Like it's the same way that you can drive your car and be good, but you can also know how to fix your car, right? So let's say that something goes all array, you can fix it yourself as opposed to going to a mechanic. And even there are different degrees because you could know how to change a tire or change a stoplight, right? But maybe you don't know how to change the alternator in your car. And maybe it's fine, you don't need to know everything, you just need to know the necessary things for your use case. It's getting there. Ooh. Prefill wallet for nicer first. Let's see. Yes. Copy link, your search bar. I track down the error to duplicate wallet bar declaration. And now have a single wallet bar component plus this hardening changes. Your setting is guarded. Conducted, Solana, Base, Bitcoin, Ordinals. This is inscribed and collected. So let's try it with a real wallet and see if it works. I'm curious. I am trying to use it with a real wallet and it doesn't seem to work. Even this link port to a language is wild. You can move from programming language to another programming language. Updating text out for API option. Updating camera code for mock detection. So we're using an in-use PC pod. This guy is still going, 27 minutes. Yeah, we might need to set an environment variables, but I wasn't trying to run it locally. I was just saying if we get it to like working the sandbox, right? But eventually we're gonna have to do that for when we wanna use it for, you know, let's see. It doesn't seem to work. Right now we have to use mock data unless API keys and points are set. Okay, so that's the issue. Would you be able to just visualize the created and collected NFTs from this wallet? Requires an API key, browsers to work key. Once you get the data, computers collected, set these environmental variables and run the app. It will back to mock data only if the keys are missing. I see. So the logic is there, we just need to add these API keys to be able to do it. I mean, the interface is there. So we're gonna refine this further because I need to go to sleep now. But it's pretty crazy that you can do this stuff. And this guy is still working on my repos. But I guess for tonight we gave a look and we walked through everything and we made this mock. And to make it fully functional, I'm gonna have to run it locally. So I'm gonna do it another time. Cheers!